time to heal and feel, be real. You just gotta take your time, unwind and chill. Cause now it's time to love yourself. Build emotional and mental health. Cause Black woman, it's time to heal and feel, be real.
Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Black Women Healing Podcast. And today we have another special guest by the name of Precious. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest so y'all can get to know her a little bit more. And then we're going to talk about a this or that. So today's guest is Precious, the founder of Simply Passionate Life. She is a wellness platform that has supported mothers in overcoming burnout and prioritizing their health for over 5 years. With a background in health science and counseling, Precious helps moms create generational wellness using her LIFT framework, encouraging them to lighten their load, ignite their spark, embrace a freedom mindset, and take their turn. Before becoming a mom of 3, Precious experienced a transformative 75-pound natural weight loss journey, which sparked her deep passion for helping mothers reclaim their health and joy. Through retreats, workshops, and one-on-one coaching, she's worked with women from all walks of life and witnessed how a mother's healing can ripple out to change an entire family. Precious also brings a thoughtful lens to maternal wellness in the workplace. Her research on postpartum retention explores how companies can better support mothers as they return to work after maternity leave, offering practical and powerful insight for systemic change. We are very excited to welcome her into the conversation today. Let's welcome Precious.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
I'm honored to be here.
Absolutely. Like the energy is already amazing. I have to share with them, Precious, just so they're already knowing what we're coming into. Precious just prayed over us. And if that doesn't show and explain like the energy that Precious exudes, like I don't know what it is. But y'all about to get some of this too. Um, but something that we do at the beginning, Precious, is we do like a this or that just to kind of, get us warmed up and thinking of things. So I'm trying to think of this or that. Myra, jump in if something comes to mind before mine.
Yes,
Uh
I have something.
oh. Okay, come on with it.
So, since we all have braids, I am curious. Do you like to go for maybe longer braids or baby hair? If you had to pick one or the other,
Yeah, baby hair,
baby hair or longer braids?
longer braids.
I'm
Why?
a
You gotta give us some context.
Well, when I'm thinking of baby hairs, I'm thinking about like the swoops in the front. Yeah, I
that's
don't like that because I work out a lot. If you follow me online, you know I work out a lot. Work out 4 to 6 days a week. So I don't. I told the girl who braided my hair, I said, "Girl, don't leave nothing out. Put it all in, okay? Because I'm West African and I don't need nothing to be popping out. It ain't gonna be baby. It's gonna be grown. So,
hilarious. That's my answer, and it's not even, I don't work out as much. Also inspiring. But like I can't keep up with that. It's gonna last that day, and then I don't know how to make it back. I'm just gonna end up just swooping it anyways. I know how to do a swoop, but the all the pieces, they be straightening the baby hair. It's a bit much.
it's too
I
much.
can't do it. I can't. So I'm the same. Nah, put it in. You don't need to do
Yeah.
anything. Myra, what about you?
I hate the baby hairs, and the reason why I asked that is because I know I told that girl to not leave my baby hairs out, and I guess they stayed slick as long as they were gonna stay slick. But now I'm looking at them, I'm like, what did she do? I told her no baby hairs.
It'd be
But
cute
yeah,
though. When it's
it be
when it's
cute
done.
the first
When
few
it's cute, they do be
days.
cute when it's cute. But they did that to my 10-year-old. She got her hair
Ooh.
done for her birthday, and she has thick hair like her mama. And I got there, and they had the soups. I'm like, not really. Why? Why would you do that? Why, ma'am? You intentionally leaving hair out at this point. Put that in. Unless you have sensitive edges. Like, why, girl? Snatch them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
get every piece. You're right. That should be a discount. They be charging more for the edges too sometimes.
they
Girl,
do.
it's
Now
a
they
hot
have
commodity.
names for them.
It's a hot commodity.
It's a whole thing. So we all on the same accord with that. We choose the long braids.
For sure.
We choose them. Thank you so much for engaging in this or that. Now that we're a little bit comfortable, today, y'all, we're going to be chatting about generational health now and how lifting yourself as a mom will change your family's future. And so, thinking about this acronym. So, the acronym, you all, if you haven't heard and listening, is LIFT. I'm going to tell you all again what it means. LIFT stands for lighten their load, ignite their spark, embrace a freedom mindset, and take their turn. Very powerful. And so we have got to ask, how did this framework come into fruition?
Yes. Thank you for asking. Thanks for having me here, for real. Y'all are so sweet. If you've been listening for a while, what you see is what you get. They are sweet peas. So this came from my I have several things I believe. One of them is that the message is always for the messenger first. If you follow someone or you listen to someone and they're telling a message that never applied to their life, run, right? You really need to receive something before you can serve or give it to someone else. And that's the same with faith, anything. And so I've been in low places in my life before, not just because of my physical weight, but because of the mental weight, a load of being a daughter, being a first generation college student, being a wife, being a mother, being a bonus mom. Like there's a lot of heavy weight. And then you being a business owner, being an employee, working a 9 to 5 and having a side hustle. Like there have been so many different seasons of my life. And when it came down to really wanting to make my business have the impact I wanted, I hired a business coach to really come to figure out what is it that my impact was going to be and how was I going to help moms. I knew I wanted to help them, but I just didn't study business. I studied health science and counseling. And so when we were sat down, she just kind of asked me those questions like, what do people come to you about? What do you believe in? And I just was like, I want moms to be lighter. I want them to, feel lifted. I want them to feel like they can lift their burdens. So prayed about it and it just came to, I started thinking the acronyms. I'm an educator in my background. I taught for 5 years. And so I was just like, what acronym would go with this? And that's how me and Jesus, came up with the lightening your load and then igniting your spark, because a lot of women lose themselves in life, embracing the freedom mindset. Because if I could think of a word that started with an F, that would have been first, because your mindset matters. Your mindset changes everything. And then take your turn, because I believe that if life is a game, most moms and women don't take their turn. They wait for it. They look around. The kids get a turn. The husband get a turn. And Uno skip, pick four, reverse, and here you are still sitting there. No line item in the budget. No space or event in the calendar. You're just on the back burner. So that's the bite-sized Happy Meal version of my 8-week program and like what I do and talk about and all that kind of stuff. But that's really the heart of it. It's just that I wanted women to not feel heavy anymore.
Yeah. That is so powerful. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is so powerful.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm always in conversation about that, like with my other mom friends. I'm a mom. And so they're always talking about how they want to center their lives around their kids. And I'm always the person that's like, so how's that going to impact you? Like, what is that going to look like when you've given all of your days of the week for all of these activities you want to put your kid in, because you have this idea of how you want to show up as a mom. But what about taking care of yourself? And they're always like, oh, didn't think about that part. So I'm so happy to hear about your program. So I'm like, it's directly in alignment with these conversations I'm always having.
Yeah, and I mean the reality is I know we're gonna get into it because y'all are some organized women, okay? Y'all had those show notes. I said, well, come on now, y'all better do a podcast and master class. Y'all better, I don't want to don't get me in trouble, y'all, by going off the script. But no, it's so true. The reality is like you not only are you centering your children in your life, but you're centering yourself in theirs. And so they don't get to even experience like what does it look like to like need something and then try to figure it out. Like, do I figure it out? Like, and I think that depending on the age of the mom, if you're a millennial or older, you may have that latchkey experience, or your friends were latchkey and you promised yourself that you wouldn't do the things that your parents did, or I'm a first generation American, so my parents were Ghanaian, they worked all hours and I didn't expect them to volunteer for nothing. Like it wasn't even, I didn't even send them the permission slip to volunteer because I knew it was not happening. And I don't have resentment toward them because they did what they had to do. But sometimes we reverse, like we swing the pendulum too far over. And now you wonder why your kids have a myriad of adverse reactions to the fact that they're used to you being able to pick up every single piece, every single moment, every single day. So
Hmm.
I think it benefits both ways. And the freedom mindset comes down to saying, like, stop thinking about the worst case scenario. Shut up the mom guilt, the wife guilt, the woman guilt, the wanting to be soft and not be too aggressive. Whatever your guilt is, hush that voice, because what if it works out? And what if you take your turn and it's actually the opposite impact? You know what I'm saying? You never
Yeah. Yeah. You're bringing up so many different things for me, but we'll welcome those into the conversation later. But since you're mentioning your cultural background and you being first generation, I'm so curious how your cultural background has played a role far as your approach of being a mom, of family health, of wellness, like all the things. What role do you feel like your culture has played in it?
Yeah. Well, I'm a proud Ghanaian American. I love my heritage. I wish I could speak the language, but I do understand it fluently. It was my first language, so I didn't learn English till I was like 4. And knowing my 4-year-old, I'm like, wow, that's a long time to be speaking a different language in America. But I was born in Chicago. And I think that it was interesting because in my house, it was Ghana. And everywhere else, it wasn't. So it was like still a very rich experience as far as like respect, honor, legacy was like huge. You don't go to the corner store and embarrass me. Like, that's just how my parents, it was like the Kofi name. That's why, like, if you see my name written anywhere, it's Precious K. Williams. Like, I still hold my Kofi because that's like my daddy name. It's always been my daddy name, and my heritage. So we were very cognizant of like what your decisions mean, who they affect, that it's not just about you. And so on that end, I think there was a benefit of growing up with West African parents, also going to Ghana a lot growing up, seeing that everything is not the south suburbs of Chicago where you have a 2-car garage. Like, it's people selling water on the side of the road to make enough ends to meet for that day. There ain't no bill, no check coming in 2 weeks. So you have to sell enough for that day to live for that day. So I've always had a little bit of a humble background, even though my parents did fairly well for us here. And on the backside, I had a very traditional household. My dad worked. My dad did not lift a pot, lift a pan, lift the mop, nothing. Right? Like, he didn't even know where lotion was to give us a bath, like nothing. You understand? And to this day, he will say, your mom did a great job raising y'all. And I'm like, sir, you was in the house. What are you talking? Like, he said it proudly, like, but the only difference was she was in America. So she had to work too. So not only did she take the burden of not the burden, but take the weight of the entire household duties, she was a cosmetologist. And before that, she was a, waitress. Like, my mom was a hard working woman. So that is really what the seed that planted in me, that I don't believe in martyr motherhood. I don't believe in having to sacrifice your identity for being able to show up for your kids. I believe you can be fulfilled and committed at the same time. And so, yes, long story short, it helped me to become the woman I am and to be the hard worker and the dedicated person, but it also fueled my passion for women not being servants and being forgotten.
Wow. So if you were to reflect like on your childhood and having lived the life that you live now, if you could like go whisper something in your mom's ear, like you're rewinding back, but you're still this person right now,
Mhm.
but you've gained all this wisdom, all this life. What would you whisper in your mom's ear if she was still in the midst of who she was as a mom during that time?
You know what's so funny? And I say this all the time. Like, now that I do the work that I do, she'll comment on Facebook like, she's retired in Ghana, by the way, so she's taking her turn. And it's never too late. It's
Oh,
never
mom.
too late. Okay, and her and my daddy. Okay, and he'll pick up a dish now every once in
Yeah,
a
dad.
while.
Yes.
But it's never too late. So if you're like, girl, I've been married for however many years, it can't change, it can. I've seen it happen dozens of times. But she'll comment stuff like, I'm so glad I'm alive to learn from you, and amen, and I needed to hear that. So it's like, I don't even wouldn't change anything about it because it really literally gave me the fuel that I needed for today. But if I know what we need now is what she needed then, community. If she had a community of moms that modeled to her what it looked like to like have her own hobbies, to like leave the house without not it being about church or about my dad's in social events, like just to go to the movies for herself. Like she didn't have that. And a lot of that was because she couldn't. She was living to survive in a new country. But that generational health and healing comes in because I am adamant to heal for her, right? Like to not keep on that pattern because she didn't really have as much of a choice. And so I don't blame her. Like it was a whole different time and she literally came here with $0. You know what I'm saying? But I owe it to her to not let that be my story and not let that be my daughter's story. And literally that has already changed in one generation. And God, thankfully, that it's kind of changed in her generation. Like she's already starting to make decisions for herself that aren't centered around her kids and her grandkids, And so I'm happy for her and I'm happy that she was able to make it out of survival mode. I just want people who listen to this and people who listen to my message to realize like you can't do what your mom and grandma did out of survival when you actually have the resources to thrive now,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. That's a word. Thank you for reflecting on that and sharing further into that. As you talk a lot about generational health and healing, I'm curious, how did your personal experience with burnout and health transformation shape your approach to helping other moms?
Yeah. Well, I think it's, one thing about healing is that people think you're healed and then you're like, good, I'm
Done.
healed. But everyone knows about like that one deep cut you had before. And that even though it healed and you only see the scar, that if you hit it the wrong way or if you touch it the wrong way, some type of nerve up in there still like you can still feel that there was a damage there. And so one thing about my background and where I've been in life, I weighed more in ninth and 10th grade than I weigh now. I never had a single ab in all of my life. I mean, like before I started my fitness journey in my 30s and 40s, like, well, soon to be 40. And so growing up and having a understanding of like being being overweight, having food as emotional eating, um, people pleasing through food because I said we made that good West African food, jollof rice. My mom worked so hard for this meal. I'm going to eat it and eat seconds. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of that I had to unlearn. I had to unlearn that I don't always have to celebrate with food. I don't always have to cope with food. And that there's a deeper trigger that typically lies behind the weight. And that was something that I couldn't learn in school. Though I went to Howard, an amazing health science program, though I went to Georgia State and got my counseling degree, something that life teaches you sometimes is the biggest lesson. When I coach women, the biggest thing we're going into is like, what's the real weight? What's the spiritual weight? What's the mental weight you're carrying? Because if you still carry that weight and you battle the behaviors of working out, eating vegetables, honey, when life comes back around, that weight will come back, right? As fast as it could left, it will come back twice as fast if you don't battle the internal issues. I try not to use trauma lightly. So the internal issues are internal patterns that you have. So yeah, the way my own transformation story, not only just like redefining myself, becoming a mom, losing weight before becoming a mom has helped me when I had to intentionally gain weight to have children. Like not a lot of people talk about the PTSD that goes for someone who's been heavier and lost weight and then decides to have children. Like, oh my God, will I ever be able to bounce back or will I lose all of my progress? So inserting faith into my journey and really getting to the bottom of those fears has helped me to be in the best shape of my life. Today, better shape than I was in when I was 16, 17, 18 years old. I hope that answers your question, but anyway, you listen to this, definitely like, you got to get to the basics of it. And typically you need help to do that. Like it's really, really difficult to see your own blind spots. And so there are coaches and counselors and therapists and nutritionists and things like that out there now to help you get over that.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, it's kind of tied it back into community in some sense. Like it's a different type of community, but all those additional people is the community,
It's a
right?
side, right? Of support for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And so, in thinking of that, of community, how have community and sisterhood played a role in your healing, especially as a Black woman navigating very layered experiences?
Oh, wow. The wording of that question is interesting. So I don't talk about this much, but I was in the sorority and denounced in 2019. And so that was a challenging experience because it was definitely a step of obedience. If you would have asked me in 2018, 2017, I would have never conceded to that ever being a reality. But Jesus was like, girl, if you don't listen to me and do what I tell you to do. So when I hear the term sisterhood, I think it has a huge role in my life. It has a huge role in my life. I still love the women that I was in that sorority with. I still am closely knit with a lot of them. And then I'm super connected to the women in my church, the women in my life, the women in my community. I believe that sisterhood definitely heals. You know, like the word says that we're saved by the blood of the Lamb, which is Jesus, and the word of our testimony. But who you gonna talk to? Like, it's not your testifying to yourself, right? You need others to tell you. You need to tell others what you've been through, so that when you get back around to that same trial, they can remind you what you've been through. And literally, I have two biological sisters as well. So when I talk to my biological sister and I say, I can't believe I can't do this, I can't do this, she's like, wait a minute. Now, I've seen you do this. I've seen you do that. I've seen God do this. I've seen God do that. Like, they edify you. And so I think that any woman who's in isolation watching this, get out of there. You literally get out of there, because isolation literally will breed so much, not only discontentment, but disillusionment. Like, you'll think your life is falling apart by yourself until you get into a mix with other people. And sisterhood saved me. We talked about burnout. I think Myra asked earlier. Like, when I was, past my 75-pound weight loss, had my first biological baby, lost that baby weight, had just been promoted at work, in ministry. Like, on the outside, I was everything. Everything was going good. But I was perpetuating the same pattern, being everything for everyone and having nothing for myself. And it wasn't until I was able to confess that to some sisters that I'm burned out and I'm going to drive to Tennessee. And y'all just tell them I'm okay. I'll be back though. I'm about to drive away. If it wasn't for that Hail Mary call, I don't know what would I have done, or if I would have found the strength to be like more honest about my discontentment in motherhood, or if mom's in the mission and my business and all that would even exist if I didn't have sisters that I could have come to in that vulnerable period. So, yeah, long story short, I've experienced loss of sisterhood. I've experienced release of sisterhood, but I've also experienced redemption of sisterhood and how important it is to have it in your life.
I love that. I think that becoming a mom helped me really learn what sisterhood was. Like I feel like I've always been like a good friend. I've always had good friends, but it's not until the life change of becoming a mom. And then I'm thinking about this piece of how you're adding in the weight piece of it all and navigating that. But for me, I have a partner with a disability. So navigating being with a partner who is blind, whereas when we think about societal norms, a man is going to drive you on a date. A man is going to do this, and that, especially as you're a mom. And then realizing like it's not that my partner can't do all the things, it's just that navigating it is going to look so different. And so just being thankful for the friends who, instead of them being like just waiting on me to call and ask for help, just jumping in and like doing stuff. Like I reference my friend Tony all the time, where she's just like, oh, I'm gonna pick you up from the hospital once you have the baby. For your birthday, I know that he's not gonna be able to drive and do X, Y, and Z thing. So I'm gonna communicate with him to make sure that that thing happens. Things that seem so small because they're so huge, because this is a very different life that I live, right? And even thinking about burnout, where my role looks very different as a partner, because again, my partner can't step in all the ways, but having friends who are like, I'm gonna step in. I remember you said that you wanted to go to the spa. We're gonna go to the spa and do that thing. I remember that you said, again, going back to my friend Tony, anytime I tell her I want to do something or I'm interested in something, somehow she communicates to my partner and the thing happens. So I really love the idea of how sisterhood can really save you, especially when you have a friend who is tied to Jesus Christ. Because that girl, she's going to remind me about God every chance she gets.
Listen, and I love what you said though, because I believe that women, moms, who I work with like 90% of the time, but I got rich aunties in there too. Don't. If you're watching this and you don't have kids, I help all women, anyone. But accountability, community, and consistency. So we talk about community, but without accountability, it's literally impossible to be consistent. because it's just you yourself and you telling yourself you're going to do something. You can live like, actually, I changed my mind. I'm not working out 5 days a week. I'm working out 3. Like, no one's there to really hold you accountable. And yeah, there are some people out there. I feel like the most consistent people consistently keep accountability around them. It's not the most consistent people are isolated. Typically, the most consistent people, if you're thinking about like a LeBron James or Serena Williams and all these people, they have so many people around them that it's crazy. Even you think about super famous like celebrities that made it through multiple seasons, like a Beyonce or whatever. They have so many people. They have, and the consistency of people. Like that doggone security guard, Beyonce, she had that same security guard forever. Like sometimes we do too much. You're trying to change it up, and it's not that difficult. You got that homegirl, Tony. You know, I'm not about to go just try to find a new person for that role. If it's not broken, don't fix it. And so accountability is one of those things. It is a tale that's all its time. If you have accountability, you are more likely to be successful at reaching any goal. And so, like you said, accountability includes opening up and telling the person that you want to do it. And so that they can hold you accountable to doing it. And I mean, I love the fact that y'all have this podcast together because y'all are each other's built-in accountability.
Definitely.
And we're friends in real life.
Okay.
We are. But no, it's so true. The accountability. If it wasn't though, for like Myra and her, like it would be more difficult. And I agree. Podcasts are very, very difficult. And I think that's why a lot of times we see them come and go. But I feel like we're each other's accountability partner, which is why we've been able to sustain it for so long. And I think that is like it attributes to everything, like you're saying, really in life. Like when you really look around at people who are even taking care of themselves in different ways, like they typically do have, community, which becomes the accountability.
Yeah.
It all comes together. Yes, I'm seeing it. I'm hearing. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm so curious, Precious. What's one practice, whether it be big or small, that you feel has helped you to come back to yourself when you may be feeling just overwhelmed?
I think when you're not overwhelmed, you've got to plan for becoming overwhelmed again. Because I was on another podcast. We were talking about the hills and valleys of life and how one thing about overcoming, so like similar to healing, you feel like once you overcome, yes, I'm an overcomer. It's period. It's proven. No matter. Another storm will come and you will have to prove again to yourself that you are an overcomer and you can overcome again and you have to rely on God again. Like you can't be using the same testimony from 2020, 2019 and 2015. Girl, it's time for some new fruit, some new proof. So when you are feeling yourself again, or when you have a slither of sunshine, you need to, 1, hire me. Okay. But 2, have a notebook somewhere of the things you enjoy, the things that light you up, the places you enjoy going. And that could include a friend that also knows some of those things. So that when you are feeling overwhelmed, burned out, you can go to that list, to that, what I call a mom care routine, and be like, okay, I need people. I'm going to go here. I'm feeling physically down. I'm going to make a spa appointment. I'm feeling emotionally down. I'm going to go to a local playground and watch kids that's not my own play. I'm feeling trapped. I'm going to book a retreat, harmony retreat. Maybe it might be a great. Like you have the things that you are, will satisfy that place. And I mean, I have a checklist that's free on my website, and a quiz as well at preciouskwilliams.com/quiz. But the checklist is like more generic. It has the different areas of life, physical, spiritual, mental, and emotional that you can use to just like, SOS, I need something. Let me check off of these items and do it to make myself come back to get some clarity and clear my mind. But if you already have that plan in place, if you already have explored those things that ignite your spark, then it's easier to actually tap into them when you're feeling burned out. But when you're burned out, it's not the time to start doing that. Like literally, it will make you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm burned out and I can't even think about what I like anymore. How did I let this happen to myself? Not all the catastrophizing is happening. So I really do believe it's important to prepare for it to come back. Like I'm a mom of 3, 5, 10, and soon to be 18. If I want to pretend like the time I got burned out in 2019 was the last time I'm ever going to be burned out, girl, you lying today. Like, don't listen to nothing else I say. No, I've been burned out multiple times since then. The only difference is now I know Now I know the warning signs. Now I have the tools, and I have the systems and routines, not only between my tribe, but in my household. So yeah, that one thing, simple thing is make a list. I said a lot, but make that list first, because then you can go back to it. Put it somewhere you go remember, like a live draft, or get the list on my website.
I
Look,
love that.
I love that. Absolutely. It made me think about, like, that's one of the things I tell people, my clients, everybody. Just like, one thing about it is life is gonna happen. Like, that's one thing I can, like, bank on.
Guarantee.
You're going to go through something again. Like,
Mhm.
it sucks, but it's the truth. But and I like how you said, because it's not that you can't live in the present moments when you're feeling good. Like, no, live in that. But the preparing piece is having you that list right there. So, and paying attention to your body a little bit better, like all those things. So it's like you still get to enjoy your joys. You get to enjoy it. But that preparation goes a long way, and it helps you to understand yourself better
Mhm.
and better and better, you know? So I love that.
Yes, it's so true. Because my husband now, if I'm having a hard time or having a hard day, he's like, "When's the last time you and Emma went to lunch?" Just that statement is like, "What you trying to say?" Like, I already know what you're saying. Like, girl, you need to get out of here. And so it's like, you know, especially those who are partnered, we feel like, oh, I have to be here. I have to do it. If I don't do it, who's going to do it? And the people around us is like, please go away. Like, you're not happy. Like, I'd rather you go somewhere for an hour, 2 hours. I'm just asking you, an hour, less than 10% of your day. So go, you can do it. You can do it, mama. You can get in that car and go somewhere for an hour. Look at something beautiful. Go in ChatGPT and ask for the most beautiful place in my city that's 10 minutes away and drive there and just sit
Yeah.
with a book, a pen, put some worship music on or some um, deep sound waves on
Mm.
YouTube, and just let the waves come through. Delta waves is what it's called. Delta waves, and then turn back around and go home and show up. And after you do that for a few times, that hour gonna turn out to 2. And next thing you know, it's gonna be a half a day. And guess what? When you come home, mommy, auntie, everybody's gonna be so happy. Like, absence makes the heart grow fonder. That's not a myth. That's a belief. That's the truth. It ain't in the Bible, but it's true. Okay, so just once again, don't censor yourself in everyone's life. Sometimes taking that time, most of the time, taking that time for you is going to make everyone, including yourself, happier.
Totally agree. Precious, as we wrap up, what takeaways do you have for our listeners?
Oh my gosh, it's went by so fast. They're very efficient. Man. My takeaway is that if you love the people in your life, you have to take care of the person that's probably the most important to them. You know, I say it all the time for moms, if you love your children, you have to take care of their mother. But for this audience who I know it may be varied, it applies to every single woman. In our country, in our world, we do have this weight that women carry. And a lot of that comes down to don't complain, be quiet, be nice, be well behaved. And I'm just telling you that be bold and audacious about healing. Be bold and audacious about showing up for yourself. You are surrounded by such a great count of witnesses. I want you to put aside every weight and sin that's holding you down, causing you not to be able to run this race of endurance. Like, God does not want you to be tired, overwhelmed, and over it. Like, He wants more for you. And there are people out there that are living to help you see that and help you walk through that journey. So just don't do it by yourself. So yeah, I love that y'all have me on here, and the questions were so poignant. I'm here for everyone listening. I'm like your big sister, your mother. So reach out and stay connected so that we can get you to a higher level where you want to be in your life.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, this is going to be our Mother's Day episode. So I also just want to go ahead and say happy Mother's Day to both of you all. I mean, I thank you all so much for all the mothering that you do for your children, for everyone around you. Thanks for taking care of yourself so you can be the best mother. And I just hope you all allow people to love on you and love on yourselves. So happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. Y'all should have led with that. I would have been like, mama, 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 mama. The whole
No,
time.
it's subtle, it's
It's subtle.
subtle.
That was real subtle. Anybody could have listened to that, which I love. You guys are doing a great job. Keep up. Keep it up. Thank you for having me. I'll be back whenever. But anyone listening to this, Mother's Day, a good gift would be a stay at our Harmony retreat. a time of 3 nights away, spa, chef, workshops with me, Pilates on the lake. Like, it's a time. So go to my Instagram, DM me the word harmony. I think we could get y'all a little some little code here for Black women. But you're worth it. You're worth it. Stop saying when the kids get no. The kids they're gonna keep on kidding. Okay, they're gonna keep on kidding. That's one thing the kids are gonna do. They're gonna keep on kidding. So take the time for yourself. I love the way that Danica said it. Let people take care of you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us for another episode of Black Women Healing Podcast. We'll be back next Monday.